Hi, I'm Matt Schwartz. Welcome to this training module. In this session, we're going to talk about how iStep thinks. And in particular, we're going to focus on what we call the third golden rule, which is that you never apologize for iStep. Never apologize for iStep. Well, what do we mean by that? Well, what we mean is that if iStep measures you at 12.5 on 4 scans, and on the 5th scan measures you at 13, that's because you were a 12.5 on scan 4 and you were a 13 on the 5th scan. If iStep tells you that you have rear foot pressure on the left and rear foot pressure on the right on scan 1, and that you have rear foot pressure on the left and forefoot pressure on the right on scan 2, that's because you did have that pressure distribution. And if iStep tells you that you have low arch, and for some reason says you have low medium, that's because you did have those arch types. And what I want to do in this session is show you why this is the case. Why you never need to apologize for iStep. Because once you understand how it thinks, you're going to understand why that might happen. And these, of course, are the exceptions rather than the rule. iStep is going to be incredibly consistent, but once in a while this kind of thing may come up. And once you understand how it thinks, you're going to know why it comes up, and it will make you that much more confident in the system. And the other thing to say about this rule is that you should never apologize to iStep, not only because substantively there's good reason to feel confident in it, which I will show you, but because the moment you go down that road, you're going to lose the customer. Not only will they lose their confidence in you as a salesperson and in the experience you're delivering them in the store, and not only will you lose the potential orthotic sale, but you have a good chance of losing the shoe sale as well. Let's start with how iStep determines length and width. What I'm going to show you is that with a static object, like a block of wood, iStep is going to be perfectly consistent, measuring these down to 1/10 of a millimeter. It could be 1,000 times in a row, exactly the same. But what you're going to see is that the human foot is variable, unlike a block of wood, for reasons that are related to what we talked about in the training module on linko-orthotics. And the interesting thing about iStep is it's so accurate it can pick up that variability. So let's measure these blocks of wood. I'm going to put them into the cavity, and we're going to look at what they measure down to 1/10 of a millimeter and see how consistent the system is. Now I'm going into configure.